Hi my dear students, in this video we are going to see grade 6 history chapter 9 traders, kings and pilgrims. Who are called as traders? First we are going to define traders. Peoples who buy and sell goods or things, they are called as traders. Whatever things may be, if the person buying and selling goods or things, they are called as traders. Before 2000 years, our South India, it is famous for gold, precious stones and pepper. The black pepper which we get from South India, it is called as black gold in Rome. So, how did you came to know that Roman peoples get goods from India? How can you prove this? We can prove this using our India peoples, how the Roman peoples got the goods from India. See, listen here. The archaeologists can find many Roman gold coins in South India before this 2500 years. So with the help of this only, we can identify that the Roman peoples gave some gold coins to us and they got some spices, gold and precious stone from us. That is, they carry some goods from us and instead of that, they gave some Roman gold coins. So we can find some 2500 years before they have used some Roman gold coins in South India. With the help of this, we can prove that the goods from South India, it has been traveled to Rome. As I already said, traders means the people who buy and sell goods by traveling from one country to another country or from one place to another place. They are called as traders. How did they travel? They travel across, the peoples may cross using sea routes, using ships, or they can use some caravans like this. They can carry, if they are following the land route, they will use caravans. If they are following the sea route, they will use ships. So along with this traders, pilgrims and many leaders, they will also travel from one place to another place. What does mean by pilgrims? Pilgrims are the persons who travel from one place to another place to worship God. From China, there are three important pilgrims. They travel to India to study about Buddhism. Faxian before 1600 years and Xuanzang before 1400 years, he arrived India to worship Buddha, and Aikming also, he came to India to study and worship Buddhism 1350 years ago. These are the three important Chinese pilgrims who came to India to study about and to worship Buddha. And while they are traveling, they felt more number of difficulties, because in ancient periods they won't have any particular routes to travel from one country to another country. So the routes are very difficult, and even though if they are using ships, they will face many accidental problems. Example, Xuanzang, while he went from India to China, he carried more than 500 manuscripts and more than 20 Buddha statues. But due to some while crossing the river, that is Indus River, he faced some problem in the ship, so he lost 50 manuscripts. So in ancient periods, it is very difficult to travel from one place to another place. And the traders or pilgrims, whom are traveling in ship, they will use the monsoon winds for help, so that they can sail easily and faster from one place to another place. The traders also faced many problems. That is, they were attacked by some robbery persons, thefts. So what happened means, they will carry some valuable things from one country to another country. While they are crossing, they may face some attacks due to this bandits or pirates, that is thieves. So actually, due to this trade, there emerges many different types of countries and many states. For example, we know very well about Cheras, Cholas and Pandyas. In ancient period, these three kings are called as Moovendars. In many Sangam literatures, they have mentioned this Cheras, Cholas and Pandyas as Moovendars. They are the three chiefs of South India. So each chiefs will have one inland and one coastal area as a control. Inland means it is a type of controlling land area, and coastal area means it is a type of places near coastal areas, near the ship it travels, no, that is called as coastal areas. So each chiefs will have one inland and one coastal area. So totally there are 6 centers. In that 6 centers, 2 centers are very important. One is Kaveri Patnam, that is controlled, that is a coastal area of Cholas, and another one is the Madurai, that is capital of Pandyas. These two are the important places where the traders are controlled. So in this map, you can see the arrow mark represents one is Kaveri Pattinam, I already said that is near coastal area, and Madurai, that is a capital of Pandyas. These two are the important centers of these chiefs. And there may be some questions for you. Whether in these Moovendars they have collected taxes? No. Instead of collecting regular taxes, they demanded some gift from the peoples. What they do with that gifts? They won't keep themselves. They will share these gifts among some supporters, family members, soldiers, and ministers, and every persons. And also, in the ancient periods, we have some Sangam poets. They will sing a poem by praising the king or kingdom, so that they will receive many prizes like elephants, chariots, cloths, or gold, precious stones from the king. And before 2100 years ago, there was an important ruler called Satavahanas, and the important ruler of Satavahanas is Gautami Putra. And we can know about these Satavahanas from the inscriptions, which is composed by his mother Gautami Balashri. And Satavahanas, the rulers, they are called as the lords of Dakshinapada, because the route leading to south, it was completely controlled by the Satavahanas. You can see that below it is ruled by Cholas, Cheras and Pandyas, that is South India. Above, in center of that, you can see Satavahanas. They control the route leading to south. So they are called as Lord of Dakshinapada. And now we are going to study the story of Silk Route. What is silk? It is a rich glossy color. We have variety of colors that is attracting us, glossy colors. As well as if you are touching the silk, it will be very smooth. So it is called as texture, smooth texture, and highly valuable. Cost wise also it is very valuable. So that is silk. We can define silk as the rich glossy color, smooth texture, and highly valued fabric is called silk. Where we are getting the silk? We are getting the silks from silkworms, or called as cocoons. So after getting the raw silk, we are just making into a thread, and then we are woven that into a cloth. So this technique of making silk, it was first invented by China before 7,000 years ago. So this China peoples, they didn't reveal the secret how to make the silk to any other countries for 1,000 years. They will produce the silk saris or silk cloths, and they will they will take this to all other places in the world, and they will give that goods, and instead of that goods, they will buy some familiar products in the particular places. The route followed by them, that is called as Silk Route. They went to many countries like India, West Asia, and many places, Egypt, many places they went to trade this silk. So they will use this horsebacks or caravans to carry this silks, and whatever route they have followed to sell this silks, that is called as Silk Route. And about 2,000 years ago, the silk became very famous, and the rich peoples in Rome, they wear this silk saris, and silk, the queen, especially the king and queen, and the sons and family members of this king and queen, they will wear this, and it will be very expensive, and it can brought only from China. Some kings tried to control these portions, the Silk Route, whatever the silk the China carried to different places like India, Arabia and Egypt, they tried to control this route. They controlled the Silk Route. The main controller of the Silk Route was Kushanas. He was the great rulers, and they controlled this Silk Route fully. and they gave some protections for this traders. Kanishka, in kingdom Kanishka, Kushana was the king. He controlled the Silk Route completely. Kanishka, he also organized Buddhist council in Kashmir, where he translated all the Buddhist scriptures into Sanskrit language. And also this Kanishka king, he encouraged the spread of Mahayana Buddhism, and he believed that everyone can get the enlightenment like Buddha. And Pureshpur, that is Peshawar, became the largest center of Buddhism, and many pilgrims were attracted toward these places to learn about Buddhism. And Kanishka was also close to Buddhist scholar Ashwaghosh, and he written about the full biography of Buddha in Sanskrit language. And also many peoples, a new form of Buddhism called Mahayana Buddhism, it was developed. That is, the enlightenment, it was shown under the sculptures of peepal tree. The Buddha got enlightenment under the peepal tree. And also this Buddhism, that is this Bodhisattva, it is another type of Buddhism. It spreads all over western and southern India, and many number of monks, they started to live in caves. So kings and queens, they started to construct some caves, and also merchants and farmers also started to construct some caves. And this Buddhism also started to spread all over the world, like Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Thailand, and many places. This Buddhism also, that is Bodhisattva, it started to spread among the persons in all over the world. Then now we are going to study about Bhakti. What does mean by Bhakti? That is, during the ancient time, the worship of certain deities, it becomes very important and central feature of Hinduism and gain more importance. These deities includes Shiva, Vishnu, like gods and goddess like Durga. What is the difference between god and goddess? The male god, they are called as god, right? Vishnu, Shiva, they are called god, and the female god like Durga, Lakshmi, they are called as goddess. So this becomes familiar in that particular time. And many peoples, many humans, they believe, they have a total belief of the devotee to worship that particular deity what they have chosen. And so that the deity could be thought of as human being, and also lion, tree, or whatever form they think, it will appear in front of them like what they have think. So they have captured that, and they have made into a sculptures or paintings or many statues, etc. We can see this in many temples, etc. So Bhakti, it has been a it is a more important, it become a central feature of Hinduism, like having a particular deities like Vishnu, Shiva, or Durga as a particular deities. So in this chapter we study about traders in ancient periods. Traders means people who buy and sell things are called traders. Kings, how the kings control these traders and routes. And pilgrims are the persons who travel from place to place with these traders to worship God. And we also studied about Silk Route, who invented the technique of finding the silk, etc. in this chapter. We can see the remaining thing in the, we can see it in the next chapter. Thank you, dears.